So Logan, you said that you're new to Airtable, so we'll start here. We'll give you the basics right now. When you're in your board, you have three main tabs at the top here. So you have data. You can think of this as your initial build place. You want to know what data you want to put in here, what you want to track, what information you want in each of these tabs, right? And then you can create dashboards and data on the interfaces that's coming in from the data tab. So then once data is in there, you can create charts, you can create graphs, you can create numbers, you can create calendars, basically everything in here. The coolest thing about Airtable is the automations. So you can connect Airtable to just about anything with Zaps or the native automations with Slack, with Google Calendar, and with automations within the Airtable natively. So I actually didn't delete some of these automations, so you guys will see some of the ones that we have set up. But some of my favorite ones are like if a client is at risk. So we just drop them into at risk, and then our client success team will get a task. Brian will get a task. Hey, reach out to this client. So instead of me having to go back and forth inside of Slack, hey, these client, I just click a button and be like, oh, this person reach out at risk, or he will. And then I can see on his task board if he followed up with that person or not. So there are so many cool automations that you can make natively inside of Airtable, which is probably the best part about it. There aren't any automations in the 8-figure KPI tracking system, but what you can do is send your end of day reports over to yourself on Slack. There actually might be one here. Yeah, so I already have that set up for you. So you can go to end of day reports. If you set it up with your Slack channel, you will get an automatic end of day reports that I go through here. Boom. So I just go through in the morning and I see what Jay did yesterday, his win for the day and the improvement the next day. And morning, drinking a coffee, I see everything that's done. Super easy. It's right there. So that's an exciting thing that I didn't even know was in there. Sweet. Cool. All right. So any questions on this? Probably not. Okay, we'll go into the interfaces. So where you want to start, actually, give me a second. Next week, you'll be getting all the trainings. They'll be dropped in here. So you can see the trainings overviews that we'll be providing to you guys next week. So that'll be in there. So that's there, but where you want to start this week when you get this is doing your value chain assessment. So we've got all the pieces of the value chain here. And what you want to do is put in who is the owner of this part of the value chain. Who's the owner of call bookings? Who's the owner of call conversions? Who's the owner of lead generation? So on and so forth. Because our job as business owners is to remove ourselves from each part of the value chain. That's ultimately how we form the biggest leverage in our business. We become business owners, not business operators, right? So you can see an example here of I've removed myself completely from the value chain of the business, and these are what the team members own, right? Then who's collaborating inside of those parts of the value chain? And then the most important part is what is the status? So with fulfillment and retention, is it a superpower? Is it a strength? Are we competent at it? Are we weak at it? Or is this fucking thing on fire? Right? So each part of the value chain is associated with certain KPIs, right? That are already preloaded in here for you. You can add more, you can subtract some, but we've got the template in here for you. So here are some for fulfillment and retention. Number of at-risk clients, NPS score, number of clients, number of support tickets, number of outstanding support tickets. For call bookings, boom, number of enrollment calls, number of new conversations, number of call offers, prospecting hours, so on and so forth. So then you're just breaking the business down into numbers, and then it makes it far more predictable, right? So go in there, do the value chain assessment. It will take 2 seconds after this call. Then you have all of your KPIs here. So how this works is you can see the data right here that we preloaded 17 records for organic KPI tracking. We have 12 for fulfillment, we have 10 for sales, we have 9 for paid ads, we have 9 for prospecting, so on and so forth. So these are the critical numbers that I recommend that any business over 7 figures is tracking. But you can remove, you can add any numbers here, and it's broken down by department. So what are we tracking in marketing? What are we tracking in paid ads? What are we tracking in organic marketing, prospecting, sales, fulfillment, operations? And what you want to do is simply assign an owner to it. So if you have your team members in here, once you get them added, you can just, let's say Jay is tracking new phone numbers, boom. So he's the owner in there. And this will actually move to his individual tracker too, as well. And I'll show you that in a second. You add a description. You can use ChatGPT for that. I use ChatGPT for all of these. Tracking just means it's been added to the data tracker. And then what part of the value chain is it in, right? Cool. Any questions on that? All right. Then you have your calculator. So what you want to do is put in here what your what the numbers are for pay in full, payment plan price, and down price, payment plan down price. Let's say this is $100,000. Let's say the payment plan price is that. And let's say the down on the payment plan is that. Then you can play with these numbers. Let's take these out. Boom. And if we get 1 pay in full and 3 payment plans and we close at 33%, we'll need 12 sales calls, and then we'll get 4 total sales. So that will give us this much in revenue, this much in cash collected, and then this amount of sales that will generate. So you can put in all your offers and just play around with the pay in fulls and the close rate, and you'll know exactly what you need to hit in terms of total sales and sales calls, right? So I could actually do this. Boom. There we go. Now we got that number. Cool. So that's kind of how you start just rocking out exactly what you need in this system, and you get clear on your numbers. Any questions on that? You guys look stoked. Let's fucking go. Cool. So let's go back in here. Projections are broken down by department. So let's say you've got July here. You just click on July. And what you can put in is total income. We want to make $100,000. In new revenue, what would that mean? You can just use the calculator of new revenue. If I do $100,000, say it's $200,000 in new revenue. And let's say we have $25,000 on payment plans. So we would need $75,000 in new cash. And we actually have some of these, so you can delete those, but this is for your individual offers here. You can break down your individual offers. How many live calls do we need? So you would just look at your offer calculator and see how many live calls you actually need. Say it's 30 scheduled calls. let's say you have let's say you have a 75 show rate, 75% show rate. So you would need 40 scheduled calls to get 30 live calls. Let's say your close rate is 33%, or you want to up that this month and you want to get 40%. And let's say you want to up your show rate to, let's say it was at 60%, you want to up it to 75%, right? So that's how you set your projections for the month. It's that freaking easy. And then you'll see all of the numbers up here in terms of total income, new cash collected, roll-up fields, all of that stuff in one place. When you're setting a new month, you just go in here, you set the numbers for that new month, September, boom, September. And then you go back up here and you'll see September is in there, and you can put in your September projections, right? So projections here, everything that's filled out on the KPI side will roll up into here automatically, and then you'll get a progress bar here. So what that looks like, let's go into sales here. Boom, all of this is automatically rolled up. We have the projection, and then we can see the progress over here. How close are we to actually hitting those numbers, right? And then we have all our roll-up numbers here, all automatically. So boom. So you do that for sales, for prospecting. If you're doing paid ads, you put that in there. Marketing, fulfillment, all of that stuff in there. Then you've got your dashboards. So once the numbers are in there, you can see everything in terms of income, sales, total units sold, new cash collected, live calls, prospecting, boom, all that stuff in there. You can see it by week, you can see it by month, and all of these things are really cool. So if you just want to track it by individual, you can click that and track it by individual. Then you've got your team reports. So end of day reports, if you don't have it and you have team members, highly recommend implementing this. Each individual tracker starts with the end of day reports. Boom. So then they would just fill this out each day, and then they will all roll up into this. So you can just go to here each day or into Slack each day and see everything that's been done. The KPIs of like morning formula, physiology, clarity, all of that stuff is in the KPIs right here. So KPI name, let's say morning formula. Boom. You can see that. You can open it up right here and see that. Cool. And what that means. So I have it broken down by department right here. So for your paid ads person, if you want to change all this data to your paid ads person, you just hit edit up here. And then you click on this. So it's saved by J right now, but you just go here and you put your paid ads person in. Let's say it's Janelle. Boom. Then this will all be her data, right? Cool. So last but not least, you have leaderboards. So your sales leaderboards right here, and all of this data will roll up. So you can see at a glance, new cash collected, new revenue, something like this. So we can see competition between me and Lewis right now. Boom, there are all the numbers. Cool. So it looks like a lot, but once you have the data in there, it's super freaking amazing. So your next step this week is to start putting in the data, which is actually really simple. Once you go into data, we have it broken down by person here. So if you have multiple setters, what you'd want to do is duplicate this. And say setter number 2, or put their name in there. And then change who's responsible. So let's say Brian is one of our setters. We take out Tommy. We take out Tommy. And we add Brian in. Say he's setter. Now all of this data will just be from Brian, right? And then for the interfaces, you just go in here and you duplicate the interface for the setter. Name. Setter number 2. And then you go up to the top and put in Brian. Take out Tommy. Boom. And now this is Brian's board. And Brian, the new setter, can put in all of his morning reports there, all of his KPIs down here, and it will all track. So if you guys dedicate, let's say 5 hours over the next week, minimum, just playing with this, you'll have a KPI tracker for the rest of your life that you know how to use. And that will help your team stay in alignment and enhance communication across team members, from filling out end of day reports or daily reports and rocking that stuff out. So cool. Any questions on that?
No, but I just want to say this. I don't think Airtable, when they created this system, knew that it could do this much stuff. I think you really showed them a different side of what their system is possible, or the possibilities for the system. It's really awesome.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Cool. So I think the main thing now is you guys diving in and playing with it, and adding in the data. What will come up is you'll definitely be like, fuck, I don't know how to do this. That's why we have the follow-up call next week. So for context, Airtable is the best centralized system. What we help with is putting your entire business into Airtable, one central location, so you can delete, delegate, and automate yourself out of the business. So we've got all our SOPs, we've got our hiring, project management, sales, income, client delivery, all of that stuff in here. The strategy, we use OKRs, objectives, and key results. Everything is organized, everything is lined up. We have different levels to this. So this is at our highest level, Masters of Business, where we really go deep into this, and the Alchemist program. But then for the Masters of Fate Brotherhood, usually guys that are making under 25K per month, we have an abbreviated version for this where we just focus on marketing and sales and offer creation. But if you're over 25K per month, this is the best system that I've ever used to scale. And I think with our track record, with some of the people that we've worked with Cole Gordon, Bastion Slot, Eli Wild, all of them, it speaks for itself. So cool. Any questions before we do breath work?
I guess, and if this is out of the scope of this call, because I know it's mainly on KPIs, it's totally all good. But just curious how you guys incorporate like your projects into this, and like the company calendar and tasks. I was just curious how that like would fit together as we build the rest of this out in Airtable.
Yeah, that's probably been the most helpful thing. And there's actually a testimonial from Jay on it on my story right now. But Jay actually just hopped in last month. If you want to explain your experience with it.
Yeah, for sure. So I come from basically working with companies, growing the revenue, all that stuff. And onboarding typically takes a while. Literally, like basically what it is in here is I can take, like, let's say I want an initiative to Let's say I want to set up a whole new funnel, have a whole campaign, and like need sales guys and like all that. Basically, I can go in and in like 10 minutes, just figure out who needs to do each task, like set up the campaign, who needs to do each task, what needs to get done by who, and then just put all the tasks on their board, and then they'll all just get done, and I can just see progress on everything. So like I've worked at companies where like, you know, it can be like I'm having to organize 15, 20 people at a time. I have to have follow-up calls. I have to do all that. Here, it's like literally just everyone gets their tasks. I can see who's completed the tasks. I can see where we're at, and like everything gets done. So it was like freaking amazing. So that's been my experience just from hopping in, being onboarded, and just being able to take what's in here and then just disperse it and have it all happen and work super smoothly.
Yeah, how we do it, Colton, is we use the OKR framework. So objectives, key results, initiatives, and tasks. So objectives, what are 3 to 5 chess moves that we're doing this quarter? It's going to move us closest to our vision. Measure What Matters by Jeffrey Dewar, really good book around that. So then you have your objectives. What are the numbers? If we hit these numbers, we'll achieve our objectives. So if it's grow top of funnel, it might be increase opt-in rate by 75%, right? Something like that would be the number. And then we have the initiatives. So if we complete these projects, we'll hit our key results. So that initiative might be launch the 8-figure KPI tracking system masterclass, right? So if we complete that, we'll increase our opt-ins. That will help us achieve our objectives. And then what are the tasks for each of the projects? So it's every other system that I use, it was just like all over the place. And planning since planning takes so much time, it's like chopping down a tree. Like planning is sharpening the axe so that we can chop down that tree quicker. But if there are too many bottlenecks in the way of us actually planning that stuff, we're not sharpening the axe to the best of our abilities to ultimately chop down that tree and execute on our business plan. So if you want to check out a kind of go deeper into that, book a call with Luis here. If you're down for that, I can just send you over that and he can show you the inside of it and show you how we might be able to help as well with that.
100%.
Cool. Sweet. Yeah.